Welcome to Salon and Married, a Destroy the Hairdresser podcast. I'm Joy.
And I'm Naz.
We've been married for 20 years, have 2 kids, own a salon together, and have countless number of cats.
We'll be sharing how we balance marriage, work, family, and all the stuff that life throws at us.
So whether you own a business together or just need support in your relationship, we're here to help you figure it all out.
Let's go.
Hi, everyone. My name is Joy LeMay, and this is
Nazareth.
And also LeMay. And we're married. We own a salon together. I'm a hairdresser. You are not a hairdresser. And this is our first episode. And this kind of idea came about because we have been married for almost 20 years, which is crazy because I feel like I'm 20 years old still. And
You look 20, babe.
Thanks. And we have conversations all the time that you and I are having just like in the kitchen or like, just hanging around in the car driving the kids to school. And we've always had these really in-depth conversations about marriage, about life, about politics, about religion, about owning a salon and business and life in general. And we've always thought it would be a really good, it'd just be really good to invite people into that conversation. I think you and I both have very different perspectives, when it comes to how things are done in just normal society. I think, we both grew up as punk kids. We both also grew up in the church. We also grew up together in a lot of ways. And I think that sometimes that offers a really unique perspective of why do we do the things that we do? Why are things done? And you have always been a really good, really good at looking through the bullshit of life and always playing devil's advocate and seeing different sides to things. And again, I think it's just we've always had those good conversations of understanding the nuances of life, the nuances of marriage and business and politics and just kind of all those things. And so I think we wanted to invite everybody into that conversation so that hopefully, we can kind of all learn something new together.
And Joy's been in the hair industry for almost 20 years, probably 18 years.
No, bro, 21.
Yeah, I guess longer. You were in beauty school when we were dating. I forgot that.
Yeah.
And then I've been in some form of the music industry, corporate world, a lot of that time for the last 20 years also, or longer. So I'm able to bring perspective from the outside of the salon industry and see ways that the salon industry is really not aligned with the way businesses do things, including in our first topic.
Yeah. So you want to introduce our first topic?
Yeah, we're going to talk about poaching, headhunting,
recruiting,
whatever word you want to use. I think people use more derogatory terms when they don't like it, and people use more neutral terms when it's something that they approve of. And so we're going to talk about poaching. We're going to talk about why it's good for everyone and why you should do it if you own a salon or are in business in general. It's something that happens all the time in every other business. And it's the only, at least, the only thing we're familiar with is the hair industry and at least on that side. And that's the only industry that I've heard of where that's considered rude, evil,
taboo,
awful.
Yeah, not up to girl code or something. But yeah, I think, the idea of recruitment is, so if we think about it from the corporate world, every corporate business, every business out there really is utilizing recruitment for their benefit. Right? So let's say that you're starting a tech company and you're I need the best engineers. You're going to go out and find them. And those engineers, if they're the best and you want the best, they're already working for another company. And you're not hoping that that other company like, dies. But there's also just an element that you're like, but if in order for my business to win, I need that engineer. So, and every other business works that way. If I'm starting a restaurant, I want the best chef. That chef mean like they're already working somewhere. So the idea that you would just find a chef out of school, train them to be the best chef is kind of like just so counterintuitive to like what every other industry does. But yet in salon world, in the beauty industry, it is entirely looked down upon. And the idea of like, okay, if I'm going to open a salon and I want the best hairdressers, to think of like, okay, well, I'm going to hire people outside of school. I'm going to then try to like, train that person for the next 4 years, 5 years. I mean, think about like like the best hairdressers out there, they've been doing hair for at least 5 years, and I know that there's always exceptions to every rule, but they've been doing hair for at least 5 years. They've gone through the pitfalls of failing. They've gone through the highs of winning. And so if I'm going to start a business and I'm going to start a salon with all brand new people who are fresh out of school, like my business isn't going to really last very well, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think the interesting
It's like
thing,
a long, it's like a long, like, it's a long time to invest into somebody to hopefully get like a really good hairdresser out of it.
well, and we can talk about this in another podcast, but that creates that sort of ownership feeling too. When you say, "Oh, I've put 4 years into this person, they have to pay it back to me by staying.
Either that or like they have to pay me money or they have to,
They
which
owe me now."
they owe me now. And like I have to do whatever I can do to like make sure that I recoup that investment. And I agree, right? Like if I'm going to be putting like all this time and all this effort into training somebody and money into training somebody, there should be a return on your investment. But what I'm saying is that it's not always helpful. To me, I don't believe that it's a very long lasting, it's not a long lasting, like,
Solution.
solution for an immediate problem of like, I'm opening a salon and all my people are like brand new babies. And then you're like, why aren't we getting clients in the salon? You're like, yeah, because you just have brand new babies that don't know how to do anything. And your reputation isn't going to be very good. You're going to be dealing with a lot of like problems like redos, adjustments, bad reviews, etc. And it's going to be a lot harder when you can still have an element in your business meant for training new people and new talent, but you should also go out and find the good people who can come into your business right away and like just start like just killing it and like being really good. And then your reputation goes up, your clients go up, like everything just starts to like flow. And when you have good talent in your space, it also attracts other good talent.
Well, the idea of elevating the industry too, if there's this idea of not wanting to just be seen as service workers and wanting to be seen as artistic professionals. Mm-hmm. And if you want to treat your salon like a group of artistic professionals, a group of talented people, that's how the corporate world sees people. Mm-hmm. If let's say Nestle says, our marketing isn't as good as Coca-Cola. What are they going to do? They're going to look to Coca-Cola's marketing people and go, maybe we can offer that person something, offer them a higher position, offer them more money, bring them over to our side.
Right.
And what happens? They do it, their marketing goes up, and then Nestle goes, man, our marketing really went down once that person left. Maybe we can offer that, and in the music industry, in the corporate world, you see that kind of stuff happen all the time.
Yeah.
And what happens when somebody leaves our company and goes to another company? Oh,
Do you block them?
immediately block them on Instagram. You shut them out of.
Do you call everybody that they've ever worked with and badmouth them?
Yes, that's number
Do you
two.
call everybody and email everybody and say, we don't know what happened. I think that they moved or they died or they're not doing hair anymore. Or I'm sorry, they're not working at a label anymore.
Yeah. I mean, that's the crazy thing is you see that happen in the salon industry all the time, but it doesn't happen elsewhere, at least to my knowledge. I'm sure there's certain things. And I
I'm sure
understand
that
too.
nobody else
I
does
understand
it, but
there's a personal component with salon ownership that's a little bit different because it's a small business.
yeah,
And sometimes people feel like when people leave, they're betraying them or, they take it personally. I get
yeah,
that.
yeah,
But do you really want someone there that doesn't want to work there?
no,
We'll talk about non-competes, we'll talk about all those things, but you don't want people in your business that don't want to be there. We've all been to a restaurant or, a a retail store and you can tell the employee's having a bad day. And it's like, you can feel that energy. And if
yeah,
your employee is not happy, they're going to be, that energy is going to be going through the clients. It's going to be going
yeah,
through their coworkers. And yeah, when people leave companies in the corporate world, for the most part, if they're, on good terms and they're not a jerk, everyone's going to wish them well. And you see later on, they're promoting something they're doing at their current company and everyone's from our companies wishing them well. And then maybe in a couple years, they come
yeah,
back and everyone's like,
yeah,
welcome back. It's great.
yeah,
It's such a different world that I remember the first salon you ever quit. But it was pre-Instagram, but they blocked you in person. It was an implied block because they were just
yeah.
like shut down. You just said, "Hey,
I believe there was a brush thrown
yeah." And it's like
on the ground.
all you said was, "Hey, thanks so much for giving me an opportunity. I think
Yeah,
it's time for me to move on." And for them, that was like
yeah.
a stab in the back.
I was a booth renter too. Like they weren't even training me. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
crazy. But yeah, I also there was something that I like you were mentioning you were talking about that kind of just like sparked something in me. And of course now I forget what it was because it's morning and I'm still trying to drink my tea. But I think, the idea, because you were talking about how like when somebody leaves like your label and they go to another label, um, like that's also something where now you go like that potentially could be a networking connection that you have because you're like, I worked with somebody, years ago and now they're at this new label and we can like, now we can, maybe there's an opportunity for both labels to grow together, do something together, et cetera. So like networking, like that's part of networking is like not burning bridges, but going like, hey, I wish you well. And like, maybe we can work on something together in the future. So that's one like benefit of like when somebody leaves your salon and goes to another. Like if we don't burn that bridge, like something magical can happen in the future. The other thing that I wanted to kind of bring about, and maybe it feels a little woo-woo, but the idea of like, if I am wishing ill upon somebody else for leaving my business, from going somebody else, or I'm wishing somebody ill because they recruited one of my stylists, I'm actually inviting that same ill will upon myself. So it's kind of this like, we reap what we sow, we put out there what we want to get back. Like, the golden rule, treat others how you'd want other people to treat you. Like there's so many different, like modalities and like religions and like, energies that talk about like what you put out, you get back. If you are thinking ill will against a salon or another person, whether you can like vehemently like disagree with them. And that's okay if you disagree with somebody. But if you are actively wishing harm on somebody, you're wishing them like, pain and suffering, you're actually going to receive that yourself. And I think to me, that is also one of the biggest factors, just aside from like, just don't be a dick. But that's another really big factor of like, when I think about people who've done me wrong or have screwed me over or whatever, like when I think about them or when I'm driving in an area where it reminds me of them or something, like I actively have to pray for them or wish them well or send them good energy because I'm like, I don't want to be bound by revenge. I don't want to be bound by like negativity, and I don't want that back at me. You know what I mean?
Well,
So,
practically too, if we're just talking practically, what good does it do to stew in anger over something like that? Like
yo, yeah.
focus on your business. And even, I mean, we've had stylists leave and come back.
Yep.
They went to a suite and said, "Hey, I actually miss being around other people." And so they came back. And if we would have burned that bridge,
Oh, they would never have
they
come
would, of
back.
course not. If we would have treated them awful, but they
Right.
knew they always were welcome back.
Yeah.
And that's creating a culture where people feel supported.
Yeah.
And it's not just about supporting people
It benefits
when it
you.
benefits you exactly.
Yeah.
And so I
Well, also, like,
even
what lip service would it be if I taught, if like the culture of my salon was like, oh, we're so welcoming and we're so kind and we're like all about uplifting everybody, but fuck you if you leave. And if you leave, I'm going to make your life a living hell and I'm going to sue you and I'm going to attack you online. And like, what would that actually say about me? Even if I had every reason to be like, oh, this person like messed up royally in my business and I have every reason to go after them. What does it say about me if I've been saying all of this shit and all of a sudden you get on my wrong side and I just attack? Like other hairdressers, other salons, other people are seeing how I react to that.
Mhm.
So what does it say about me? So then all that stuff that I said about being an uplifting and let's get rid of competition and let's support each other and blah blah, it's all a lie.
yeah.
That's what it's saying. It's all a lie. And it's all just like it's just all like for show. Just to and it's honestly and it's manipulative because I'm saying all of that to get you to love me, to get you to trust me, to get you to work in my business. And then if I act a certain way, like when the person's like, you know what, actually, I'm done here and I want to pursue something else. And then I just like attack, that makes me a liar.
Yeah.
That makes me like everything that I said and did was manipulative.
Mhm.
And it's not actually true.
Well, to take it a step further, I mean, when we first opened, we had a couple stylists came in and wanted to work there, and we hired one of them, and all of a sudden, Joy checked her Instagram messages, and some salon owner of a salon that we'd never even heard of was like attacking her and us because we hired a stylist that used to work for him,
Right.
and we didn't even know. It's not we didn't even poach them. It was just like they walked in and wanted a job, and we hired them, and he was upset that we hired somebody. So to what you were saying earlier, it's like the only acceptable way to hire someone is either they move from out of town or if they've never worked anywhere before. And that's just,
Right.
that doesn't make any sense. That
It doesn't
doesn't
make any
happen in
sense.
any other business. And it's that sort of mentality is holding down the industry as a whole.
And also like how is it helping the stylist? So like a stylist gets into this job to, do hair, something that most people who do hair are really passionate about it. They love it. I know for me, when I started doing hair, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been looking for. Something that, I felt like I had talent and a natural inclination for. And so does that mean that now I choose somebody to work for outside of school and now I'm bound to them forever? And if I ever leave, I'm blacklisted? Like,
Yeah.
I'm just like, when did the salon industry become the mafia? Like, it honestly feels that way. Like, you go to work for a crime family, and if you defect to another crime family, they're out. You got a hit on you. It's
And
like,
most of the salons you've left
what?
have treated you poorly. There's been some sort of like
There's been
anger,
some sort of
resentment
something,
for the most
and
part.
it's like, yeah, and luckily I've also had really great experiences. So, but at the same time, it's like, why aren't the great experiences the norm? And because unfortunately in our business, the bad experiences are the norm. It's what we expect when we go to a salon owner and say we're moving, or I just had a child and I'm going to spend more time with my family. I need some time, or like, and I guarantee you every hairdresser has been in a place where they go to the salon owner to tell them that they're moving on or that they're quitting or etc. And they are preparing that they have to leave that day. It is very rare when someone's like, okay, great. Like, when do you want to leave? Do you want to do 2 weeks? Do you want to finish out the clients you have in your books? Like, that is so extremely rare. And it's because the culture of the industry is like that. In corporate, you guys give, 2 weeks, I'm leaving. And everybody goes, okay, great. And you probably also get like a cake at the end of your last day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you've been to things like that where you're like, oh, so-and-so's leaving. Like, we're going out for their last day. Like,
So-and-so's literally moving on to the competition, and we're going to wish them
and
well.
we're going to have like a taco night. Like, I don't, it's so crazy. Like, and I wish a little part of that would come into the beauty industry where competition is, or trade and competition and is just, so much more centered around like what's best for the company, what's best for your competition, what's best for the actual person that's working for you.
Yeah, and I think speaking to those salon owners that do treat people that way, if someone recruits your stylist and they go to another salon, that's actually an opportunity for you to say, maybe what are they offering that I'm not? Maybe I need to change some things, or maybe not. Maybe they're offering them something that I can't offer them or I don't want to. That's great. Then that means that they're supposed to be there. That's if they're looking, if that's where their needs are being met that are apart from you, then they need to move on. That's great.
Yeah.
You don't want people working for you that aren't happy where they're at, because it's not good for your business. It's not good for them. It's not good for you. And so I think, if you are a salon owner that's having people leave, that's an opportunity for you to think about, why are people leaving? You can reevaluate how you're doing things, how you're structured, how you're treating people, and see, I know you've worked at salons where there's mass exodus. There's a mass exodus.
Yeah.
And the salon owner oftentimes goes, well, it's everybody else's problem. It's everybody else's fault.
Yeah.
It's not mine.
Yeah.
But ultimately, that's their decision. That's fine. But if they want to keep their business, they might have to do a little self-reflection and say, maybe there's some things. We have a lot of cats, by the way, so you're going to see them. But maybe there's something I could be doing differently to elevate my business. And that's something we try to do often, is like reflect on like, okay, where, especially as a business grows, business evolves just like everybody else.
Yeah.
And so there's times where maybe certain policies or certain modalities weren't right for you in the beginning, but they are now, and things are going to change. And so, it's a way to reflect on, your business practices and how you're treating people, and go, maybe I need to change something.
And I love that you talked about like it is an opportunity, because even as I say all this stuff and I'm like, we got to be fine with it. Tom, get out of here. Does that mean that I'm void of emotion and haven't felt pain when a stylist who I absolutely loved and I thought, dude, this person's going to be here forever and they're amazing and I just really enjoy them, and they go, hey, I'm moving on, and I go, oh, of course I feel it. Of course I feel it. And as somebody who also like grew up like with this massive fear of rejection, of course I'm going to feel it. Of course it is. But it's an opportunity for me to realign myself with, am I putting my approval, my validation, my acceptance on a stylist who works in my business, or am I pulling that from my own self? And, I think that the amount of time that I feel the rejection, the hurt, the pain, the disappointment, the sadness of somebody deciding that they're going to leave, to, okay, this is what was meant to happen. This is what's best for the stylist. They are on their own journey, etc. And I can realign. as I started to do that inner work, that time has gotten shorter and shorter to where now, again, it gets shorter. Do I fail sometimes? 100%. And I think we both do, because when I'm like, I just got a call from so and so and they're moving on, and we have to kind of just go like, oh, bummer. And then we're like, but good for them. Wish them well. Hopefully they'll be back someday. And then we go, okay, who's next?
Yeah. It's on to the next one. I mean,
the next, putting that focus on like, okay, well, who's in the pipeline to come in, etc. So I think, I think that the topic of recruitment, poaching, hiring is such a personal one. And I think that of all things in business, this has been the one that brought up all the lack within me that I needed to transform. Those areas where I needed to actually, if I'm going to say that I'm a certain way, I have to act that way. I have to be that way. Recognizing the pain within me when something happens and being able to transform it, having the right mindset, all of those things all came up when it comes to hiring, firing, losing people, gaining people, all of it. So it's a big topic, and I don't think it'll be the last time that we talk about hiring. But any last words?
Not really. Go out there and hire, find people that are going to elevate your business, and don't be afraid to, make them an offer, just because they're not owned by anyone, and they're not owned by you. Your employees are not owned by you. They are their own individuals that have their own needs that, you might be able to meet some needs that aren't being met somewhere else for somebody.
Yeah.
So not only are you doing yourself a favor, you can be doing them a favor if you're treating them with kindness and giving them an opportunity to grow.
Awesome. All right. See you next time.
Hey hairdressers, are you looking for health insurance? It's time to get healthy with Hairdresser Healthcare, the only coverage designed specifically for the beauty industry. Whether you're an independent stylist, a salon owner with a team, a makeup artist, or a massage therapist, we've got you covered with comprehensive and affordable benefits. With options for self-enrollment and year-round open enrollment, taking control of your health has never been easier. And the best part is, it's available in every state. Visit hairdresserhealthcare.com and take control of your health today, because you, your team, and your family deserve it.
Sorry.